What's going on, guys? Captain Richard Hajecki, and we are sitting inside the barn. It's the middle of winter, and we're tinkering, we're fixing things, we're adding things to our boat. But one of the questions I see all the time on social media and on fishing forums are guys inquiring about braid for their downriggers. So downriggers normally come packed with 150-pound stainless steel wire, and that's what we've used for years. We've been running a 150-pound braid for probably 13, 14, 15 or 16 seasons now, dating back to 3 boats ago. And we have not turned back. It's something we still use. There's pros and cons to running braid on your downrigger. We'll start with the pros. Number one, if you're running a 150-pound braid, I'm not talking about 200 or 250. We're going 150 braid to 150 stainless steel wire. You've got a thinner diameter, so you're going to have less blowback when you're fishing deeper. Or you can run lighter weights and not have blowback when you're fishing, in the top 50 or 60 foot. So that's a nice reason to run braid. You can lighten up the amount of weight your downriggers are pulling and have less blowback. The other positives, if you believe in your boat sending electrical currents down through that stainless steel cable, that's pretty much nixed. And some people like to hear the hum in the water, some don't. Some use it to dial in their speed, but that hum is no longer there. So whether you think it catches fish, helps you catch fish, or maybe deters fish, there is no hum in the water anymore. With the Optimum downriggers from Canon and the Digital 10s, with the Water Zero button, you are allowed to run braid on here and not lose your shortstop. So one of the downfalls of braid on a Canon downrigger is if you're running a Mag 10 or a Mag 5 and you try to put braid on, you're going to lose your shortstop. So you have to be very mindful of where that downrigger is when it's coming up. The other downfall, which you hear people talk about most, is during flea season. So fleas do like to collect on the 150-pound braid. But Canon makes this nice tether here called a retro ease. And all we do when the fleas get bad is we just put a little tension on this right here and create a little bit of a V into our line. And what that does is it stops most of your fleas right there. And when you get to rigging, you can just push that down right on top of your big swivel and they fall off. The other place that you'll see fleas collect is right on your ball hook. Because we have our braid coming through the hook here, you'll see a lot of fleas collect here. All you got to do is slide them off, they come right off. That's really your biggest downfall of braid, is if you are in an area that has bad fleas. Where we fish, we get it bad for about a week or two, and then that's it. It's very manageable. But there are guys running it in areas that have worse flea scenarios than we have, and they understand how to deal with it. Again, most of them collect in those 2 areas. And yes, if you're trolling for long periods of time, not catching fish, you're going to want to bring that rigger up, clear those fleas off, because those fleas are adding to the diameter of your braid and most likely giving you some extra blowback. The nice thing with the Optimum downriggers is if you go into downrigger settings, they actually have a setting in here that allows you to choose braid, how much braid you put on the spool, and what weight braid you're using. And what that does is it goes into the algorithms and changes the algorithm so that your counter is accurate. So that's a cool feature, because so many guys were running braid on these riggers that they added to them. Much more positive stuff than the negative stuff. I know a lot of guys think if they go to braid, they should go up to a 200 or a 250-pound braid. We've been running 150 the whole time. Reason being is that's thinner than the 150-pound cable. So if you go up to a 200 or a 250-pound braid, you're not going to save anything when it comes to the diameter of your cable. So you're still going to have the same amount of blowback. We're doing this because we want our cables to be closer to the boat, less blowback, because we have customers with very green fish at the back of the boat. So if everything's tighter to the boat, it's less we have to worry about fish getting into our stuff. The other thing is we like to fish very deep. So with this 150-pound braid, we'll run 20-pound sharks. We'll run 15-pound weights with our fish hawk, probe, and we do not break off this braid. Now, if we get into a scenario where we're bottom bouncing for lake trout for tournament purposes, we will cut off 3 or 4 feet of that braid just because it potentially was dragging on bottom where there are zebra mussels. But if you're running it in clear water, clear open water where there's nothing sharp that's going to affect this braid, every month or so, if you cut off a few feet just to re-terminate it, that's really all you need to do. This braid has been on here for a few years, and because I do cut a little bit off at a time, after 2 or 3 years, I'll re-spool it. The other nice thing about braid is the termination aspect. You're just basically tying a polymer knot, and that's it. There's no contraption you have to feed the wire through. It's a very quick termination, and you're ready to go. So that's my spiel on braid versus cable. We went braid and we haven't turned back, and I don't see us ever turning back just because the benefits far outweigh anything that hinders it. So if you have any questions, guys, drop them below. We have tons of years of using braid on downriggers, and I'm sure we can help you answer those.